Ladies and gentlemen, hello, and you are watching TTV News with some latest events in the province. And now coming to details. Dear audience, in the morning of January 12th, the Party Central Committee for Internal Affairs held an online national conference to review the working 2021 and deploy the 2022 tasks. Head up the Party Central Committee for Internal Affairs, Phanindra, chaired the conference in Hanoi.
In 2021, despite many difficulties and challenges, especially the complicated development of the COVID-19 pandemic, the party's internal affairs sector has effectively prevented and controlled the pandemic, flexibly and safely responded to the pandemic, actively implementing tasks and ensuring completion according to the plan. Remarkably, the internal affairs sector has focused on researching and developing many major projects, thereby advising and proposing to promulgate many important policies to lead and direct internal affairs, anti-corruption, and judicial reform. The sector has also been brave, drastic, and creative in advising and directing to remove difficulties and obstacles, speeding up the settlement of many corruption and negative cases, which have made a positive change and received attention and recognition from society. Delivering his closing speech, Mr. Phanindra suggested the party's internal affairs sector continue to improve their responsibilities in performing its duties on internal affairs, anti-corruption, and judicial reform in 2022. Focus on advising, directing, and removing difficulties, speeding up the investigation, and completely handling the prosecuted corruption, negative, and economic cases, especially in the management of land use resource budget, healthcare, the procurement of equipment and supplies for the prevention and control of the COVID-19 pandemic. Also seriously and effectively perform the task of receiving citizens, handling complaints and denunciations according to regulations. He also suggested to further strengthen the organization, apparatus and staff of the Central Committee for Internal Affairs, as well as the Internal Affairs Department of the Provincial and City Party Committees, building a team of loyal, honest, dedicated, and creative internal officials.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Nguyễn Thanh Ngọc, Chairman of the Provincial People Committee, together with delegates of the Provincial People Council and Tay Ninh City People Council, had a meeting with voters of Binh Commune, Tay Ninh City.
The voters of Binh Commune have reflected on the effectiveness of the construction of drainage ditches in the locality and expressed hope that the budget price of agricultural products would be increased. The opinions and suggestions of the voters have been satisfactorily explained by the leaders of the City People's Committee. Mr. Nguyễn Thanh Ngọc acknowledged the opinions and reflections of voters and requested the relevant functional sector to observe some issues and take actions to support the farmers in the consumption of agricultural products, help to increase the cost of products. Chairman of the Provincial People's Committee also informed voters about the situation of COVID-19 prevention and control in the province in particular and in the whole country in general. He asked voters to continue to propagate so that their families and people around them will implement measures to prevent the COVID-19 pandemic, especially register for full vaccination, contributing to the local fight against the infectious disease. The delegation of the High Command of the 7th Military Region, led by Major General Yu Trường-giang, Deputy Commander of the Military Region, visited the unit station in Tân Biên District on January 11, 2022. On behalf of the delegation, Major General Yu Trường-giang sent greetings, encouragements, and presented gifts to the units and forces in the area on the occasion of the Lunar New Year 2022. He also expressed hope that they will fulfill on assigned tasks, particularly always uphold the spirit of epidemic prevention and control at the borderlines.
Moving on the news, the audience, the Provincial Department of Transport recently held a conference to review the work of the transport sector in 2021 and deploy tasks in 2022. Mr. Yu Nhật, Vice Chairman of the Provincial People Committee, and representatives of departments in the province attended the conference.
Despite being heavily affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, the transport sector still tries to fulfill its assigned tasks, and investment in transport infrastructure has been focused. One of the most prominent tasks is to advise the Provincial People's Committee to coordinate with central ministries and branches to invest in developing key connection transport infrastructure such as Ho Chi Minh City Mộc-Bài Expressway Project, Cô Dâu Smart Expressway Project Phase 1, Ho Chi Minh Highway, the section from Chân Thành to Đức Hòa and Border Patrol Roads. Besides, the department has associated with the Department of Planning and Investment to call for investment in 2 transport infrastructure projects, including Logistics Center Project, ICD Port, Tay Ninh General Port, and Mộc-Bài Dry Port. Following the direction of the Provincial People's Committee on Coordination in the Prevention and Control of the COVID-19 pandemic, the transport sector has developed a plan and implemented the plan to bring Tay Ninh people home from other provinces. The transportation sector has also applied Zalo to support and guide transport organizations, individuals, and people to understand the province regulation in the issuance of transport permits for workers, experts, and people taken to medical isolation, thereby creating favorable conditions, ensuring smooth circulation of goods during the province's implementation of social distancing. At the conference, Vice Chairman of the Provincial People's Committee Dương Văn Thắng awarded the Certificate of Merit of the Chairman of the Provincial People's Committee to collectives and individuals with outstanding achievements in performing their tasks in 2021. In the first days of 2022, Agribank Tay Ninh branch launched the program Bringing Dreams to Life, giving hundreds of scholarships to students in the province. The first scholarships were awarded at 2 secondary schools in Tay Ninh City between January 11 and 12, 2022. Ms. Lê Thị Loan, Deputy Director of Agribank Tay Ninh branch, said that in 2021, despite many difficulties due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the bank still maximized on resources, spent nearly 3 billion Vietnam dong to support local authorities to well implement social security programs. In early 2022, Agribank Tay Ninh branch has awarded hundreds of Bringing Dreams to Life scholarships with a total value of 500 million Vietnam dong for secondary school and high school students and students from ethnic minority areas who have difficulties and overcome difficulties study well in the whole province. Each scholarship is worth an average of 1 million Vietnam dong.
The audience, the first extraordinary session of the 15th National Assembly has officially ended and achieved many expected results. During the session, the delegates from Tay Ninh Provincial Delegation of National Assembly had also contributed ideas that were observed and clarified by the National Assembly.
With a high sense of responsibility to the country and voters, the delegates from Tay Ninh Provincial Delegation of National Assembly thoroughly researched, discussed, and contributed many insightful, enthusiastic, creative, and constructive comments, joining other delegates of the National Assembly to pass 1 law and 4 important resolutions presented at the session.
In a very short time, the Tay Ninh Provincial Delegation of National Assembly has been very responsible, utterly researched and contributed many important ideas, especially the existing content, practical problems of the localities. The delegate has commended the brief discussion session, as well as the plenary session to send to the National Assembly for consideration when promulgating resolution, ensuring reasonable uniformity and plausibility.
The spirit and results of the first extraordinary session of the 15th National Assembly have created new atmosphere and new opportunities. Along with the newly issued policies, the consensus of the whole political system, the business community, and the whole people, Vietnam will have more opportunities for sustainable development, and people's living standards will be improved. With 4 important resolutions promulgated by the National Assembly at this extraordinary session and the law amending a number of articles of a specific laws, hopefully these documents will play a very important role to restore the socio-economic situation of the whole country, including Tay Ninh Province.
I hope this policy will soon be easy to create momentum for development.
The first extraordinary session of the 15th National Assembly has met the requirements of the country, the expectations of the people and businesses. I think that the contents adopted at the session are very important contents decisions to promote the development of the region and the whole country, address not only immediate issues but also strategic and long-term issues, creating momentum to fulfill the socio-economic targets set out by the resolution of the 13th Party Congress. In order to bring the resolutions of the first extraordinary session of the 15th National Assembly to life, Vietnam's National Assembly Chairman Vương Đình Huệ suggested the levels, branches, agencies and units concerned to urgently introduce the laws and resolutions that have just been passed so that these documents will soon be effective and come to life.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's all for today TTV News. Thank you for joining with us and see you next time.